All right, so the Detroit Pistons have a Jalen Duren problem, and if they don't fix this now, this offseason, it could potentially ruin the future for this team. What is up, YouTube? Hey man, say man, this is your main man, A man, back at it again for another banger. This time I'm finna go in on the Detroit Pistons and how they're in a dilemma with this core roster, specifically their player, which is the main point of contact of this video, and Jalen Duren. Now, everyone knows how much his playoff performances have impacted the way that not only the front office view JD, but how other teams view Jalen Duren now as a restricted free agent. Once Detroit is open towards trades, and how the front office deal with Jalen Duren could really affect the future of this team going forward. How will Cade Cunningham thrive with the roster he has now? How much leverage will Detroit have towards making other key moves to improve the roster around Cade if they decide to go through and sign the contract that Jalen Duren wants? How will it affect the other young guys on the roster like Thompson, Asar Thompson, and Dennis Jenkins, Ron Holland, and all the youth? There are so many questions regarding this matter, but hopefully I can answer them in my best and most honest way possible in this video. But first, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. I post weekly videos once, twice, or more NBA videos per week. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly videos. And that out of the way, let's get into the video. So the Detroit Pistons ended last season with the best record in the Eastern Conference, winning 60 games, which is one of the best records in franchise history. They had the second best defense in the NBA, and Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren led the way, specifically for Jalen Duren. This was his breakout year that season, averaging 20 points per game, 11 rebounds, while shooting 65% from the field and 74% from the free throw line. And in the last 17 games, when Cade Cunningham went down with a punctured lung, Duren averaged 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists, which shows how much he has improved as a post playmaker. Well, at least we thought so later on, especially when his running mate Cade was out. He will make an all-star team and also made an all for the all-NBA third team. All of what he has accomplished in that season has earned him the right for him to receive the contract worth $280 million going into this offseason. But of course, everything came at a screeching halt in the playoffs, where he was not just bad, he was horrid. I mean, flat out unplayable. Like, the NBA never seen a guy who's been this good in the regular season, but so unplayable in the playoffs, to the point where Paul Reed started to receive more minutes than him. Like, it's unheard of. Let's give you the overview stats for Jalen Duren against Orlando. This dude put up just 11 points, which is a 9-point drop compared to the regular season. And to put it even worse for him, this dude had a 55% true shooting percentage. Like, this man had less points while shooting worse from the field. Like, how? And if you look at the individual games, you can see exactly where the wheels fell off. In game 1, Duren immediately set the tone for a rough series, finishing with a meager 8 points and 7 rebounds in 33 minutes, while posting a team worst negative 21 plus minus while he was on the court, as Detroit choked away home court advantage. Then in game 3, this was the absolute low point, everyone. Wendell Carter Jr. completely dominated him, had 14 points and 17 rebounds, and Duren was just ass, missing 7 of his 10 shots, turned the ball over 4 times, and fouled out late, just as Cade Cunningham was mounting a huge second half comeback. The moment Duren fouled out, Orlando closed on a 9-0 run to win. Game 4, another piss poor performance where he failed to impose his size, putting up just 12 points and 8 rebounds while coughing up another 4 turnovers and had 5 fouls in a frustrating loss. And then in game 6, even in a crucial road win to stave off elimination, Duren was just a complete non-factor offensively, finishing with just 8 points and racking up another 5 fouls. The Magic and eventually the Caps exposed every flaw in this game imaginable. It exposed how Jalen Duren doesn't have a post game. He is not as athletic as advertised. He has no handle, and even on defense, he doesn't even have the lateral quickness, nor the size and the defensive IQ to be an effective defender in the NBA, especially in the playoffs. The playoffs have shown all of us that there isn't really anything Jalen Duren is good at, if we're really being honest. Now, continuing with his playoff woes against the Cavaliers in the second round, it didn't get much better for him. In game 1, he had 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists with a plus 17 rating, which was a solid game, but not in the level compared to the regular season. And same goes with game 2. But the Cavs in game 4, like many teams, adjusted and pulled him away from the basket offensively, and they continued to slow down offensively for Detroit. That game, he had 8 points and 2 rebounds in 26 minutes. Yeah, 8 points and 2 rebounds. Then in game 5, he was so much of a liability on both ends of the court that Paul Reed, who, by the way, a third-string big man on the roster, stepped in for him and played the rest of the night. And in game 7, he only had 7 points on 3 of 7 shooting and had a negative 18 plus minus in a blowout loss, and you get the point. This playoff performance from Jalen Duren will go down as one of the biggest playoff fall-offs from an all-star player in NBA history. It was historically bad, and honestly, a playoff performance like this, I wouldn't even want him on the roster. And to this day, as I'm recording this video, Jalen Duren is still a restricted free agent. There's no other team out there that is willing to sign and trade for Jalen Duren because he really doesn't provide anything for you on both ends outside of rim finishing and occasionally giving you double-digit rebounds. But aside of that, he can't really do anything else that good. And the sad part for Detroit is that they initially were trying to pursue guys like an Austin Reeves this summer, but the Lakers found a way to give him the contract he's looking for, and he's pretty much locked with LA for the time being. Meanwhile, for Detroit, they still need more offensive firepower and shooting, of course, because they have been one of the worst shooting teams in the league in both in the regular season and in the postseason. And outside of Cade Cunningham, they were really relying on Tobias Harris, who was an inside-out guy offensively to provide second option production, and then you add in Dennis Jenkins, who could provide for you offensively a little bit, and Duncan Robinson being the premier shooter he is. Outside of them, there's not many offensive firepower they have, and most of these guys were defensive-minded guys. They're definitely not going to have the season they had last year because more teams have figured them out, especially if Jalen Duren is on the roster, and plus the Eastern Conference have gone much stronger. Giannis is now with the Heat. The Sixers have Jaylen Brown and LeBron James to pair with Maxey, Embiid, and as come the Raptors bringing back Kawhi Leonard, even though he is still on hold somehow. The Pacers getting back Tyrese Halliburton, and of course the defending champion, the New York Knicks, that retain all their roster from last year, and the Cavaliers, the Magic. I can go on and on. The East is looking very deep, and now in order for Detroit to build off what they did last year, they're going to need more shot creators and shooter to pair alongside Cade Cunningham. And with this Jalen Duren situation, it wouldn't make any sense for them to give him a contract that is paying more than $40 million per year. That's just stupid. Even if you pay him a 5-year, $90 million deal, the same problems are going to be there with his inability to provide shooting, finishing, and defense at a high level. Like, something has to be done here, guys. And I know it's a tough decision for Detroit. I know that Jalen Duren is 22 years old and still young, but at the same time, this is what you're going to provide. Just him being a behind-the-back, non-spacing big man who can't anchor a defense. That's how you get fizzled out in the NBA. And that's what exactly happened to Montrezl Harrell. Back in 2020, the dude was a stat sheet stuffer and considered to be the best big bench player in the league. Won 6 Man of the Year due to his high motor and behind the back game. But once the bubble playoffs started, things started going left for Trez, man. Teams started hunting him down defensively, and when the game slowed down, especially in the half court, an undersized or non-spacing big man who can't anchor a defense nor can provide anything offensively besides run and dunk and grab rebounds becomes an active liability. Just like Harrell, Duren gives you zero floor spacing, especially in the Cleveland series where the Cavs treated Duren like a ghost on the perimeter, packing the paint and completely neutralizing Cade Cunningham's driving lanes. And on defense, Harrell was historically exploited in drop coverage and pick and roll switches. Same thing with Duren, and especially for Duren's horrific foul trouble and passive defensive stance against Orlando, and Cleveland showed the exact same lack of postseason discipline. With that said, having a guy like that on your roster is very concerning, and despite him being this young, if he's has that type of game and nothing else, then there's not much you can look forward to as far as his growth in the NBA. If I were Detroit, I would do a sign and trade. Despite the lack of teams wanting Duren, you still have to sign and trade Jalen Duren, in which the front office reportedly said that they are not interested in signing trades, but it's the best option for them at this point. Obviously, you can't give him the contract that he wants, but you also can't let him walk in free agency too. So now the Pistons are in a crossroads, and because of that, it's clear that with the contract holdout, JD is pissed off, and he's going to find a way to hold this franchise hostage by taking a $9.6 million qualifying offer in return to Detroit for one more year and become an unrestricted free agent after next season. And the Pistons will lose all their leverage in trading Duren to improve the roster. This is the exact same situation that Jonathan Kuminga had to go through when the Warriors were holding out his contract, but the difference was that they were trying to use him when he was a restricted free agent last year and do a sign and trade to get Giannis, in which was ridiculous back then. Whereas Detroit, they can actually get somebody in return that complements well with Cade Cunningham if they do a sign and trade for Jalen Duren. I heard that the Milwaukee Bucks are looking to offload the Miles Turner contract. If Detroit actually go through with this and get Miles Turner in this deal, it will be a textbook move because Miles Turner is the perfect switch defensive athletic lob threat big that Cade Cunningham desperately needs. But hey, I digress. The moral of the situation here, guys, is that Jalen Duren has really played himself out of an organization that has ascended over the last couple of years, and the front office has to have the balls and trade Jalen Duren to improve the roster for Cade Cunningham, because he is the cornerstone of this franchise, let alone a top 10 player in the league. You have to make the business decision and trade Jalen Duren to improve the roster around Cade Cunningham, because he's the one who could potentially lead Detroit to a championship if he has the adequate pieces around him. So that's the end of the video, y'all. Let me know in the comment section below, do y'all think that the front office should trade away Jalen Duren? Let me know, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more NBA content and turn on post notifications. And of course, smash the like button if you enjoyed this video. And that's all. This is your main man, A-Man, sign out.